Capitol's weekly update to stories the regime media hates you to hear. President Biden called Peter Doocy to apologize for calling him one stupid son of a bitch. NATO's on high alert, but are they really all on board over Ukraine's defense? Germany's not. France isn't. And it will destroy NATO if Biden tries to take it to war with Russia over the Ukraine's borders. Taiwan's again reporting massive, large-scale Chinese Air Force incursions into its airspace this week as the Biden regime ratchets up war rhetoric over Ukraine. Maybe China has a support agreement with Russia. And according to the Florida Department of Health, the FDA has abruptly removed the EUAs for 2 monoclonal antibody treatments, making them no longer available to the public. Their press release said this week, without any advance notice, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration reviewed the emergency use authorizations for these 2 monoclonal antibody treatments, and they do no longer allow providers to administer these treatments within the United States. This is criminal, folks. Let's never forget that President Trump was impeached over a phone call with the Ukraine president. This week, thanks to Human Events' Jack Posovic's reporting, we know the Biden regime was forced CNN to take down its reporting of a botched phone call between Biden and the Ukraine president. We demand the transcripts be released. Because here's Ukraine's President Zelensky slamming Biden after the botched call, saying, I'm the president of Ukraine, I'm based here, I think I know the details better than he does. And he also slams the Western media coverage of Ukraine and says they are giving the image there are tanks in the streets and people are fleeing, creating panic. Watch these 2 video clips.
For their ongoing support to our sovereignty and territorial integrity, but I'm the president of Ukraine. I'm based here, and I think I know the details deeper than any other president. The question is not about the US president, because we do understand what the risks are and which of those risks are priority risks. And we've discussed lots of questions. I would like to explain this a little bit. It's important that the president should know the situation from me, not from the intermediaries. He knows the situation from me personally, and we're talking to each other. We'll have another conversation in a couple of weeks as well. But it's important not only for our intelligence community and secret services to exchange information. People need to be here and understand all the details. I understand you are here. I don't know how long you have been here. But when journalists or respected politicians come to us, I always invite them to Donbass, because I think that having an opinion about in early 2021, it was very intense, but such informational attitude towards Ukraine, and it's a question not only to you, but to the world, there was no such coverage at that time of Ukraine. And we've talked to the president, we've talked about this. We think that there has to be a balanced approach. I'm not saying he's influencing American media, they're independent, but the media policy there has to be very well balanced. If they want to know what the situation is, that they can come to Kyiv. Do we have tanks on the street? No. But the feeling is, if you're not here, the feeling is when you listen to them in Germany, in France and Lithuania, I'm talking to the president of Lithuania and other leaders, the image that mass media creates is that we have troops on the roads, we have mobilization, people are leaving for places. That's not the case. We don't need this panic. That's a very important moment. I'm not saying that escalation is excluded. We have been talking about this for 8 years now. It has happened already. The escalation did already happen.
Let's see the transcripts, State Department. Or better yet, President Zelensky, have your folks release the transcripts of this botched phone call. Because I think we do need to impeach President Joe Biden, because he doesn't have his act together anywhere near what the last president had on the Ukraine situation and the overall situation in Europe with NATO. Next up, media coverage of billionaire George Soros and his nasty organizations and ways attacking America's citizenry and freedom around the world. Reporting undercover videos showing the betrayal of American citizens. That's a quote, by the way, by our own government and non-governmental organizations or NGOs it hires to send illegal aliens all over our country illegally. Many of these NGOs are George Soros funded organizations, and we're not going to stop reporting on Soros and his NGOs working against the citizens of the United States. Tucker Carlson also says you have a right to know what George Soros is doing to our country, and he's going to continue telling you. Watch this.
He's one of the most powerful political figures in the United States. Soros has more influence over the way Americans live their lives than all the voters in your average congressional district combined. So why is Soros so powerful? It's not because his ideas have popular support. They don't. Soros is powerful because he's a billionaire. Soros buys his power. And that is not the way a democracy is supposed to work. What's interesting is how little you hear about what George Soros is doing right now in American politics. You may have noticed that, and there's a reason for it. News organizations that attempt to report honestly on George Soros find themselves bombarded by Soros's lawyers and allies, threatening legal action and smear campaigns. Ask around. Now, most news organizations are intimidated by this, and you can see why they are. Anyone who dares to criticize George Soros is denounced as a bigot. They claim that disagreeing with an atheist billionaire is an act of prejudice. It's hate. George Soros may be one of the richest and most influential men in the world, but he would like you to know that he's also an oppressed victim of your unauthorized opinions. Just like if you're not for going to war in Ukraine, you're a tool of Putin. Please. We see this routine a lot. In fact, every day. Soros's allies are doing it to us right now at maximum volume in response to our documentary on Haiti. We expected that, and we don't care. You have a right to know exactly what George Soros is doing to this country and to other countries around the world, and we think we've got an obligation to tell you. So we're going to continue to.
And so will this little organization. We're going to keep reporting on it because Soros is an enemy of the United States of America and the Constitution that I swore to defend, and many hundreds of thousands and millions of other Americans have sworn to defend, even with our lives. He's our enemy. We're going to keep reporting on what he and NGOs and contractors are doing in this country until they stop.